Hi, it's Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction. This week we're going to be looking at some Christian books, fiction and non-fiction, that are coming out in August 2022. So these are some books that I could find that are releasing next month. If you know of any more, please do add them down in the comments. When I started out looking for the non-fiction books, I didn't realise there'd be so many, so we will go through those at the end and I'll just go through the titles. They're fairly self-explanatory anyway, and you can go and check those out. That I will put a link both to the fiction books and the non-fiction books that I have separate blog posts for down in the description below, so you can go check them out, check out their Goodreads pages and see what they're about. So we're going to start with some fiction books, and starting with contemporary books. Lifemark by Chris Fabry releases on the 2nd of August, and this is published by Tyndale. For 18 years she tried to believe she had made the right decision for him, but if she never saw him again, how could she ever be sure? Melissa had clung to the thin thread of hope given by the adoption agency that someday her newborn son might want to connect with her. When his 18th birthday arrived, she called the agency to simply update her contact information, not expecting a response. By the Way of the Moonlight by Elizabeth Musser releases on the 2nd of August, and this is, I think it may be a dual time period novel or contemporary, and it's published by Bethany House. For as long as she can remember, Ali Massey, a gifted physical therapist, has dreamed of making her grandparents' 10-acre estate in the middle of the city into a trauma recovery centre using equine therapy, a dream her grandmother Nana Dale embraced wholeheartedly with her financial support. But when her grandmother's will is read, the money left to Ali and her family is barely enough to cover the cost of hiring a lawyer, and worse yet, the property has been sold to a contractor. In romance, Sold on Love by Kathleen Fuller releases on the 2nd of August, and this is Maple Falls Romance Book 3, and it's published by Thomas Nelson. She's a high fashion realtor. He's a low maintenance mechanic. What on earth could they have in common? Dressed in designer labels and cruising around town in her red Mercedes, workaholic realtor Harper Wilson presents the picture of success in charming Maple Falls, but Harper's carefully cultivated image is resting on a shaky foundation. With a sudden drought in sales, she's starting to see her professional dreams, along with her posh lifestyle, slipping away. Car trouble brings her to mechanic Rusty Jenkins, and their unlikely friendship is taken to the next level when the laid-back Rusty allows her to give him a makeover for a charity bachelor auction. The Last Way Home by Liz Johnson releases on the 2nd of August. This is book 2 in the Prince Edward Island series, and it's published by Revell. When Eli Ross left Prince Edward Island to join the NHL, he left a broken family behind. More than a decade later, he's broke and headed home to an uncertain welcome. He wants to make things right with the family he's wronged, but his mother's business partner isn't making it easy. To top it off, the coaching job he's accepted turns out to be far more difficult than he anticipated. Love and the Dream Come True by Tammy L. Gray releases on the 2nd of August, and this is book 3 in the State of Grace series, and it's published by Bethany House. Their faith will face its toughest test yet. 4 generations after getting the biggest break of his life, Cameron Lee's music career has taken a nosedive, leaving him 2 options: become a sellout or give up on his lifelong dream. He reluctantly returns home for his sister's wedding, hoping to avoid his past and find his love for music again. Single mum Lexi Walters has suffered her fair share of tragedies and setbacks, but she has finally scraped together the money to achieve her dream of going into business with her cousin as an interior designer. When Lexi's life is at an all-time high, she runs into her teenage crush, Cameron Lee. You'll Be Mine by Rachel Hauck and Mandy Boerma releases on the 16th of August. This is book 2 in the Heart's Bend collection, and it's published by Sunrise Publishing. He just wants to leave the past behind him. International hotel manager Ben Carter is not sticking around Heart's Bend. He's just home to sell the inn he inherited from his grandparents. The place holds all his best memories, especially the ones that include regular summer guest Cammie Jackson, but she's been out of his life for years and she's not coming back. She is headed for a glorious future. Real estate developer Cammy Jackson is ready to take over as VP of her father's company, Akron Development. When the Heartbend Inn comes on the market, she wants to swoop it up, if only because of the sweet memories of her favourite summers. The last thing she expects is to find her first love back to sign on the dotted line. In biblical fiction, Ezekiels Song by Naomi Craig releases on the 16th of August, and this is book 2 in the series Yahweh's Legacy. A prophet's heart broken, a woman's joy gone. What does Yahweh have planned for his people? On the brink of Jerusalem's demise, devoted priest Ezekiel sees the insincerity of Judah's worship. Despite his efforts to call the people back to true worship of Yahweh, priests, artisans, valiant warriors and royals are exiled to Babylon. When God gives him messages of continued judgment for the people in his homeland, his heart breaks. How can he minister to the people from so far away? The presence of the Lord is tangible when Shiriel sings in the temple, and her voice prepares the hearts of many to worship. When she is exiled to Babylon, her faith is shaken. Does the Lord's presence extend beyond Jerusalem and his holy temple? In Mystery and Suspense, Crossfire by Lynette Eason releases on the 2nd of August. This is Extreme Measures Series Book 2, and this is published by Revell. FBI Special Agent Juliana James is a top-notch negotiator who has never lost a hostage. Surely she can manage to take care of her much younger sister, Dottie, who showed up unannounced to live with Juliana while she finished her senior year of high school. A former sniper with the 75th Ranger Regiment, Clay Snyder left the army after a tragic incident that he can't get past. Now he's working as a high school resource officer until he can figure out what to do with the rest of his life. Their paths cross when Juliana is called in to negotiate a courtroom hostage situation involving Clay's sister. Deception by Patricia Bradley releases on the 2nd of August. This is Natchez Trace Park Rangers Book 4. This is published by Revell. After being forced to kill an FBI agent gone rogue in self-defense while working in the Violent Crimes Unit for the Investigative Services Branch, Ranger Madison Thorne is comfortable with her move to the Fraud and Cyber Division. At least numbers don't lie, so she's left less than thrilled when a white-collar crime investigation in Natchez, Mississippi turns violent. She could also do without being forced to work with former childhood enemy turned infuriating handsome park ranger Clayton Bradshaw. And apologies if I've butchered the name of that place, anyone who lives there. Forged in Steele by Susan Sleeman releases on the 10th of August. This is published by Edge of Your Seats Books. When a baby goes missing, the ink was barely dry on the contract Bristol Steele had signed for Steel Guardians to provide security for a metro hospital when a baby is abducted from the nursery. Horrified and devastated for the family, Bristol puts everything in her life aside to find the abducted child and return her to her devastated parents. But when FBI agent Jared Wolfe steps in and tries to shut down her efforts, Bristol isn't prepared for the sparks that fly between them. In fantasy and sci-fi, Blood Secrets by Morgan L. Busse releases on the 9th of August, and this is book 2 in the Sky World series. This is published by Enclave. So I can only read a short part of the description because it's book 2 and it follows on from book 1, but it says, not everyone wants to see the world saved. And book 1 description, what's lurking in the mist is the least of their worries. In a world where humanity lives in the sky to escape a deadly mist below, Cass's only goal is survival, that is, until she finds a job on the airship Daedalus as a diver. Now she explores ruined cities looking for treasure and people's lost heirlooms, until a young man hires her to find the impossible, a way to eradicate the mist. And finally, in historical fiction, Laura's Shadow by Allison Pittman is book 9 in the Doors to the Past series, and it releases on the 1st of August. De Smet, South Dakota, 1890. Young women growing up in De Smet live by 2 rules. Don't go out in a snowstorm, and don't give your heart to Cap Garland. Young Mariah Patterson only managed to obey 1. De Smet, South Dakota, 1974. Trixie Gowand is the 4th generation of living Gowand women residing in the sprawling farmhouse on the outskirts of Desmet. While former resident, she's recently acquired her own bachelor girl apartment in Minneapolis, where she works writing ads for a neighborhood paper. She might live and work in the city, but her co-workers still call her Prairie Girl, thus the inspiration for her comic strip Lost Laura, in which a bespectacled girl in a calico dress tries to make her way in the city. So that seems to be a dual time period, but both of them are technically historical from now anyway. Now, I've got quite a few non-fiction books to share with you from various publishers, so I'm just going to scroll through them and read out the titles and subtitles to give you an idea of what they're about. I haven't read any of them, so I would advise you to do your own homework and have a look at what the book's about. Also have a look at the author and what they believe. Nevertheless, She Was Blessed, Inspiring Devotions and Prayers for Women by Carey Scott. 365 Devotions on the Power of Prayer for Men, Daily Inspiration from Classic Prayers by Donna K. Maltese. Rise Up, Faith-Building Devotions for Women by Rebecca Currington. 3-Minute Devotions for Hope and Healing by Joanne Simmons. Big Prayer, 180 Devotions for Kids by Jessie Fiorito. Spurgeon the Pastor, Recovering a Biblical and Theological Vision for Ministry by Jeffrey Chang. Following Jesus in a Digital Age by Jason Thacker. Fostered, One Woman's Powerful Story of Finding Faith and Family Through Foster Care by Tori Hope Peterson. Fruitful Theology, How the Life of the Mind Leads to the Life of the Soul by Ronnie Kurtz. Mothering by the Book, The Power of Reading Aloud to Overcome Fear and Recapture Joy by Jennifer Pepito. Strong in Battle, Why the Humble Will Prevail by Susie Larson. Prayers from the Parking Lot, 50 Short Reflections for Mums on the Go by Mary Carver. Chase the Fun, 100 Days to Discover Fun Right Where You Are by Annie F. Downs. Embracing Trust, The Art of Letting Go and Holding On to a Forever Faithful God by Joanna Weaver. God of the Way, A Journey into the Stories, People and Faith That Changed the World Forever by Kathy Lee Gifford and Rabbi Jason Sobel. When Faith Meets Therapy, Find Hope and a Practical Path to Emotional, Spiritual and Relationship Healing by Anthony Evans and Stacey Kaiser. The Other Side of Hope by Danielle Strickland. Courage for Caregivers, Sustenance for the Journey in company with Henri J. M. Nguyen by Marjorie J. Thompson. Learning Our Names, Asian American Christians on Identity, Relationship and Vocation by Sabrina S. Chan, Linson Daniel, E. David de Leon and La Teo. Songs of Suffering, 25 Hymns and Devotions for Weary Souls by Joni Eareckson Tada. The Call to Follow, Hearing Jesus in a Culture Obsessed with Leadership by Richard Langer and Joanne J. Young. The Epic Story of the Bible, How to Read and Understand God's Words by Greg Gilbert. How to Save the World, Disciple Making Made Simple by Alice Matagora. Uncommon Influence, Saying Yes to a Purposeful Life by Lauren and Tony Dungy. And Perfectly Suited, The Armour of God for the Anxious Mind by J.D. Peabody. So those are some books that I found that are releasing in August 2022. As I said, if you know any more, please do add them in the comments. Also, let me know which of those books would be interesting to you to read. Are you interested in reading any non-fiction? If so, are any of those ones that you would be interested in, and the fiction books as well? I hope you're having a great reading week, and until next time, God bless. Bye.